Representative Long, House File 2539. Representative Long moves to refer House File 2539 to the General Register. And Representative Long, you have an author's amendment. Do you wish to move that at this point?
Yes, please, Mr. Chair.
Very well. Representative Long moves adoption of the DE2 amendment, puts the bill in the shape that the author wishes it to be before us today. All in favor of that motion, please say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
No.
Motion prevails, and House File 2539 is amended with the DE2 amendment. Representative Long, your bill, as you wish it to be before us, is indeed before us.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. I'll try to be brief because I know we're running late today, but thank you very much for hearing this bill today. Last week, we had an important step for justice for George Floyd. We know that the tragic shooting of Daunte Wright must call us to action as well. Daunte Wright's tragic death highlighted several shortcomings of our criminal justice system, and I commend Representative Frazier and Representative Moeller for their work on stops for equipment violations. Representative Vang and I are partnering on this provision that we're hearing today to address what happened after the decision to stop Mr. Wright. Once the officers determined to pull Mr. Wright over for his expired tabs and air freshener, they found he had an outstanding warrant for failure to appear in a first appearance for a summons. But Mr. Wright likely never knew about this warrant because the summons had been sent to an address from which mail had already been returned. These situations with incorrect addresses are unfortunately common, and some jurisdictions have taken a common sense approach where instead of issuing a bail warrant for failures to appear in a first appearance, they use a sign and release warrant instead. So in these instances, an officer notifies the individual that they have an upcoming trial date and asks them to sign to recognize that they have understood the trial date is coming up. This takes down the temperature in the interaction with police, as there's no need to take them into custody. It's important to note that the prosecutor in these circumstances has already determined that bail was not needed, which is why they have proceeded with a summons. This process has led in the jurisdictions that are using it to good rates of appearance for the trial dates, up to 2/3 in one jurisdiction that was tracking it. And this shows that individuals largely do want to come to their court date when they know about them. The concept in this bill is supported by Ramsey County Attorney John Choi and Hennepin County Attorney Mike Freeman. And it's my understanding that where these procedures are in place, they have found that they work very well and are well supported. This would be at least one step we can take to try to reduce tension whenever possible when we know it was likely prompted by a simple mistake. We received a $0 fiscal note for the bill yesterday, noting that the procedural changes can be absorbed within current budgets. And I also want to thank Representative Novotny for his counsel and his engagement on this bill ahead of today's hearing. And with that, I'd like to ask Representative Vang to say a few opening remarks before we hear from our speakers.
Very well, Representative Vang.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Today is a new day, but the same problem remains. Once again, we come before the committee because another young, unarmed Black man was killed, Daunte Wright. Today, I want to honor Daunte Wright's memory by presenting this bill, House File 2539. Although this bill may not solve all the specific issues relating to police brutality, this bill could have prevented Daunte Wright's death. For whatever reason, Daunte Wright unknowingly and unexpectedly got a warrant for his arrest. This bill works to reasonably minimize the number of arrests and interactions police have with individuals who have warrants for failing to appear in court for certain misdemeanor offenses. This bill is common sense. It minimizes unnecessary work for police officers to expend time and resources on citizens who aren't a public safety threat, and for communities who fear police officers can relax and continue to regain their trust from them. Lastly, I'm thankful to my colleague, Representative Jamie Long, for putting all the hard work on this bill. His background, knowledge, and expertise is tremendous in shaping this bill, and I'm grateful to have him champion this. Members, I ask for your support. Daunte Wright should still be with us, and this bill could have saved him that day. Let's honor his memory to make sure another unarmed Black man can still live a life full of potential and love from his family and friends. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Vang. And I want to just publicly acknowledge your large public service in the last few weeks. This incident occurred in your district, and you've been very much present with your community and trying to keep peace and help meet the needs of your neighbors and your constituents. Thank you for that. With next members, we have the mayor of Brooklyn Center, Mayor Elliott. Welcome to the committee, sir. Please state your name for the record and give us your testimony.
All right. Thank you very much for having me, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. My name is Mike Elliott, and I represent the city of Brooklyn Center, serve as the mayor. I come before you as mayor of a city that is grieving the killing of one of my residents and community members, Dante Wright, 20-year-old young Black man who was shot by a Brooklyn Center police officer. That tragic killing has sent a tidal wave, a call for justice across the state, across our nation, in the world. Just last week, we buried Dante Wright, and we also received a verdict in the Derek Chauvin trial. We all recognize that verdict didn't represent justice, true justice. It represented progress, but not the kind of justice that is deeply needed in this state and across our nation. After all, justice is George Floyd's daughter having her father to take care of her, and Dante Wright's son having his father to take care of him. We all need to work together to achieve meaningful reforms such that members of our community, when they interact with police, don't end up dead. With this bill, an officer pulling over someone like Dante for expired tabs or air fresheners and subsequently finding that they have an outstanding warrant would have to notify somebody like Dante of their upcoming trial date and ask them to sign and thereby reduce the potential for conflict and help avoid tragedies like the one that happened here in Brooklyn Center. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mayor Elliott, and my acknowledgement as well for the trauma and pain that your community has endured over the last couple of weeks. I appreciate your leadership in working to help keep the peace and to keep people engaged positively with one another. Next, we have Julia Decker again from ACLU. Ms. Decker, welcome back.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, Julia Decker, Policy Director for the ACLU of Minnesota. First, just want to say we really appreciate the work by Representatives Long and Representative Zhang, and also Representative Novotny's input on this proposal. ACLU of Minnesota supports the principal aim of HF2539, which is to reduce unnecessary contact by law enforcement with members of the community. People may fail to appear for a scheduled court date for a variety of reasons, many of which disproportionately impact low-income communities and communities of color. Things like access to transportation or transit, childcare, time off from a job, or a stable address are all reasons why a person may not be able to appear for a court date and indeed may not even be aware that they have a court date. Now, we would urge the committee to remember that the severity of a charge does not change any of these access issues, and further, that a charge is not a conviction. In that vein, we urge the committee to examine if a custodial arrest for a pending charge should ever be the default response by armed law enforcement. And as we've discussed with Representative Long, we would also urge consideration of whether broad catch-all exceptions, such as the exception in subdivision 6 of this proposal, provide loopholes for continued disparities in policing and public safety. Changing Minnesota law to minimize custodial arrests for failure to appear on misdemeanor, gross misdemeanor charges takes a good principled step towards addressing one of many issues within Minnesota's public safety system that disproportionately harms low-income and BIPOC communities. We are committed to working with this committee and the legislature to build on this and other proposals in order to enact change that is transformative, not only in name, but also in substance. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Decker. And I suspect that Representative Long was listening very carefully. I suspect he'll circle back to you, particularly on that Section 6 language. Mr. Justin Terrell from the Minnesota Justice Research Center. Always good to have you here, sir. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair Mariani. As always, it's a pleasure to come before this body. I think you guys are doing amazing work and being responsive to the needs of the state of Minnesota, from the members on this body down to the staff. My name is Justin Terrell, and I'm the executive director of the Minnesota Justice Research Center. The nature of our punitive criminal legal system is one that turns service calls such as traffic stops into criminal investigations. This practice needs to be re-examined. The life of Dante Wright was cut short after a traffic stop that has been reported to take place due to an air freshener and an expired tabs. The stop became a criminal investigation when the officers discovered Dante had a warrant, and they proceeded to take him into custody. Think about that for a minute. An air freshener and expired tabs could lead to jail time. These are administrative oversights at minimum. But in Dante's case, we know that it led to the taking of his life and the civil unrest that followed. House File 2539 is a policy that could have saved Dante's life. Instead of arresting Dante, he could have been ticketed and released, gone home to his family and dealt with his warrant at the appropriate time. Especially the provision in the bill that talks about that you would qualify for sign and release if you had appeared for a hearing in the past, which is my understanding that Dante did. Every interaction with the public can be seen as a criminal investigation by officers. There needs to be room to show up and provide service, and not as a predator looking for any excuse to take someone to jail, especially in situations where the person has shown good faith efforts to resolve the condition. I'll just close with a quick personal story. Saturday night, this past Saturday, an elderly Black man knocked on my door at 11:30 p.m. I woke up and ran to the front door while my wife checked on the kids. This man needed a ride to HCMC and asked that I call him an ambulance. When
Brandon Scott, Baltimore, youngest for more than a century, he campaigned on the promise to realize.
Mayor Elliott, I think we'll need you to mute yourself on your end. We're picking up some conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Saturday night, an elderly Black man knocked on my door at 11:30 p.m. I woke up and ran to the front door with my wife while my wife checked on the kids. This man needed a ride to HCMC and asked that I call him an ambulance. When the police arrived, my wife started recording as we greeted them respectfully. A few minutes into the interaction, the officers checked for warrants and communicated to our elder that he had some issues to resolve. All of a sudden, this call transformed into a criminal investigation versus providing a service to get this man to safety. And I just think that this practice needs to be re-examined. We know how it can go wrong. We know that this bill would provide officers with another opportunity to make sure that those interactions go right. The Minnesota Justice Research Center is looking into this issue and will provide a summary of our research to this body. I imagine the data will affirm this bill is a good policy, and I ask this body to support this bill. Doing so will signal to the community that law enforcement is taking a proactive response to the crisis caused by Officer Potter, who discharged her firearm and erased Dante Wright's life from our community. I wanted to say thank you to Representative Long for inviting me to testify today. I want to say thank you to Representative Vang and to all the members who I've seen out in the community in Brooklyn Center doing their best to respond to the calls for justice. And I'll conclude my remarks there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Terrell. Appreciate the work of the Justice Research Center. I look forward to your brief that you referenced in your testimony. So that concludes the testifiers. I've got a few minutes left. I've got 3 individuals. I'm going to call on them, and then we're going to move to a vote. Representative Poston.
Thank you, Chair Mariani, and I'll be really quick. I've got a quick, fast question for Representative Long. Representative Long, I'm looking for a fiscal note, and I'm wondering if one is available or if you have one coming on this bill, because it seems like there could be some significant financial impacts.
Representative Long.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the question, Representative Poston. I spoke pretty fast in my introduction, but I did mention that we received the fiscal note yesterday, and it was from the courts, and it was $0. So they believe that they can meet the needs of the bill using the existing reporting structures and functions that they have.
And Representative Long, we could certainly ask our staff to post that note for the public as well. Thank you for your question, Representative Poston. Representative Addy.
Thank you, Chair Mariani. I'd like to point out and just make a statement that a warrant is an order issued by the court. A gross misdemeanor warrant issued by the court is a shall arrest. This is not a discretionary issue from the police. They come across someone and the warrant, once discovered, is a shall arrest. If the courts and the legislature wants to change a procedure, which is what I propose we do in this situation, then that will change the direction and the orders that are given to police to carry out on behalf of the court system and the legislature in the state of Minnesota as a whole. On any given day, warrants are issued, or what's called nightcaps. Non-nightcapped warrants can't be served on nights and weekends or holidays. It doesn't matter to the officer anywhere in the state of Minnesota if they can't make an arrest on a warrant or if arrest is satisfied. As I said on the floor last week, a warrant that isn't issued is a trip that they don't have to make to jail. It's not a report they don't have to do, and it leaves them available to respond to emergency situations. I'm voting yes on this because it's a public safety issue, and it seems like the right thing to do, despite all of the white noise or background noise in the background. It's the right thing to do because it's the right thing to do. I urge my members to vote yes. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Representative Addy. Representative O'Neill.
Chair, I just have a procedural question for the author, Representative Long. I looked and it looked like it was introduced on the 17th of this month, 10 days ago. Now we're having a hearing, and I'm wondering if your plan is to get a rules waiver so that it can move forward appropriately.
Representative Long.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Representative O'Neill. That's a good question. I was thinking just the same thing. So I don't know if staff can assist if we need to be referred to rules or if going to the floor is I suppose if we go to general register that can be taken up for rules.
I believe that's correct, Representative Long.
And I had introduced this as an amendment to the bill last week, but I withdrew it because there was a concern over germaneness, and we wanted to be fair to both sides on germaneness. So I'm going through the regular order instead.
Absolutely. Thank you for the question, Representative O'Neill. Representative Frazier, then Representative Johnson, then we're going to go to a vote.
Yeah, just quickly, I agree with Representative Novotny. This makes sense. It is taking situations where our officers don't have to engage in situations that they necessarily don't need to engage in. So I'm going to vote yes on this. I'm glad Representative Novotny said what he said because I absolutely agree with that. So let's move forward and we can make some changes, save some lives.
Thank you, Representative Frazier. I believe Representative Novotny correctly characterized the landscape, if you will, the reality, and so therefore the bill that we have before us relative to what a court then can exercise. Representative Johnson, then we're going to move to a vote.
Chair Mariani, Representative Long. I know I've talked to my sheriffs about this. They actually brought it up to me because I hadn't seen your bill that had been entered, but they had, and they had some concerns on it as well. One concern was it really won't change that much, especially your first bill, because they'd have to be brought into the jail to get booked and get released. And I see you change that a little bit. I do have still have some concerns. Unfortunately, even if this would have been in effect, that tragic incident that occurred in, excuse me, Brooklyn Center wouldn't have changed because that was I believe that was a felony warrant for a weapons violation and fleeing police officer, not a gross misdemeanor or a misdemeanor warrant. I believe it was a felony warrant. It's unfortunate that he didn't comply and just go to jail, and things would have been a lot different, but it's easy to be Monday morning quarterback. I also would like to, if you could actually forward the official fiscal note, it would be appreciated. I also think because this deals with judicial issues, this bill also needs to go to judiciary, not the general register, because this is actually changing the Minnesota court rules and procedures, dealing in rules 3.01 and 3.03, I believe, that are mentioned in the amendment. I guess I am mistaken. I just learned that it was a gross misdemeanor warrant, which, as Representative Novotny says, is a shall arrest. I would also like to explain how warrants are issued. I don't think everybody on this committee understands that. When you get a citation or you end up going to court for an issue, you're arrested, go for your bail hearing, the judge sets the bail, but the defense attorney requests a certain bail. Usually they request RPR, and the prosecutor looks at everything and decides what the bail would be best under that situation. And then the judge decides. I've seen it where the judges actually set bail higher than what the prosecuted requested. And I've also seen it when they've set it much lower or RPR, even though the prosecutor requested bail. This is a whole different change. And it's something I think that needs to be discussed in the Judiciary Committee when we have the prosecutors and the judges and everybody available to discuss this. So with that, with it going to the general register, I'm going to have my members vote no, because I do believe it needs to go to judiciary to work some other issues out. Thank you.
Members, just for the record, the chair of judiciary has waived seeing this bill. There is no cost to the courts. In longstanding practice between our two committees, she exercised the ability not to see this. And I just do have to very quickly, comment, complying, quite frankly, is a very disturbing notion for free people. And I do believe that all citizens should cooperate, listen, work well with all members of our public safety. But this obsession, quite frankly, of compliance and the culture of compliance, I just can't think of anything more antithetical to our freedoms and to a free people. It leads to all sorts of violations of our constitutional rights, the bedrock of who we are as a people. And unfortunately, when it comes to race and interracial interaction, it leads to the ultimate violation of human rights, which is the taking of life. I certainly hope that there is no one in this body who thinks that what happened to Mr. Wright was the right thing for our laws, our state, our public safety to produce. We need to move away from any kind of normalization of that behavior. And we're only going to do that if we are real clear about these values and if we work with one another across our political communities to reassert the human rights of all people, of all citizens, and to focus our laws on our constitutional rights. Representative Long, I probably said your last words, but last comments, and then we're going to take a vote.
No, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just appreciate members' engagement on this, and I know that this is a proposal that is coming before us quickly. So Representative Johnson or others, I'd be very happy to work with you on further conversation as we're going forward, and appreciate everybody's dialogue on this. I also just want to thank Representative Vang for her partnership on this and for her real leadership, as you put it well, Mr. Chair, in her community in these past 2 very, very difficult weeks.
Thank you, Representative Long. I do appreciate the bipartisan manner in which you approach this bill as well. With that, Representative Long renews his motion that House File 2539 as amended be referred to the General Register. The clerk will take the roll.
Chair Mariani.
Aye.
Chair Mariani, aye. Vice Chair Frazier.
Aye.
Vice Chair Frazier, aye. Representative Johnson.
No.
Representative Johnson, nay. Representative Edelson.
Aye.
Representative Edelson, aye. Representative Feist.
Aye.
Representative Feist, aye. Representative Grossel.
No.
Representative Grossel, nay. Representative Hollins.
Aye.
Representative Hollins, aye. Representative Hewitt.
Aye.
Representative Hewitt, aye. Representative Cleavorn.
Aye.
Representative Cleavorn, aye. Representative Long.
Aye.
Representative Long, aye. Representative Lucero.
No.
Representative Lucero, nay. Representative Mueller, excused. Representative Novotny.
Aye.
Representative Novotny, aye. Representative O'Neill.
O'Neill, aye.
Representative O'Neill, aye. Representative Pinto.
Aye.
Representative Pinto, aye. Representative Poston.
No.
Representative Poston, nay. Representative Raleigh.
Raleigh, aye.
Representative Raleigh, aye. Representative Vang.
Aye.
Representative Vang, aye. Representative Zhang.
Aye.
Representative Zhang, aye. That concludes roll call with 14 ayes and 4 nays.
Very well. With a vote of 14 ayes and 4 nays, the motion prevails and House File 2539 as amended is referred to the General Register. Thank you, Representative Long.